Hello everyone. I saw a very ridiculous article the other day. It was saying about how feminism is good for men. Now, don't get me wrong, I'm not saying that women shouldn't have rights. We should. But feminism today is very different from how it used to be. It used to be about being equal to men. But now it seems to be about being up and over men. This article goes on to also say that feminism should be taught to boys and that it is good for boys to learn feminism. Now, in my opinion, I believe that women should be respected. But I also agree that men should be respected. I believe that we all play a different role. We complement each other in the things that we do. We don't need to be equal in the things we do because we have a different role. It doesn't mean that we can't do these things if we want to, but we don't need to show off and demand that you have to be able to do this too, or this person is bad. What I saw recently was a hashtag that was basically saying that all men should turn to soil, that they are no use. Imagine if the roles were reversed. There would be an outcry. There would be an uproar, because you can't say that, it's offensive. Misogyny is rightly wrong. But what about misandry? Is that okay? Because I don't think so. If you see my videos from November, you know that I consider men to be equal to women. They deserve the same respect, the same love, the same care. Their emotions matter as well. To everyone out here saying that men are good for nothing, where did you come from? And yes, you can say your mum, but how did you get there? Eggs do not fertilize themselves, so you need to have your dad. So remember that when you breathe in that lungful of air, you are alive. We cannot do without men. Oh, and shock horror, you are a woman because your dad's DNA chose that. Another thing that really annoys me is when people say that men, especially white men, are considered oppressive. This is not the 1800s. I think we need to move on from that statement now. Stop dragging up the past. But that's for another video. Also, didn't we already have this conversation, but reversed? The women should only do housework and having babies and stuff like that, blah blah blah. That didn't go down very well, did it? Women get very upset if you tell them to go back in the kitchen. I would be, mainly because I can't cook, but also because under normal circumstances there's more to life than washing the dishes and cooking the food. It's the same with men. There's more to them than their money and stiff upper lip. Also, women, when was the last time that you did a lamppost check? Some women will only date men if they have a six-figure job. The money is not going to give you comfort, the man is. And also, some women say that all men are good for is making the children, while there are others that are saying that you don't even need men for that now. While I don't agree with that article, grown men can cope with hearing things like that. Boys who are still developing do not need to be hearing about this. Children should not be involved in anything to do with things that they cannot change, because once we get them involved in adult things, where does it stop? 5-year-olds are probably not going to be able to spell the word oppressor, so they don't need to be learning that they oppress women. Just because boys have more strength and they can snatch the crayons off the girls because they want to, that doesn't make them oppressors. It means they are children, male or female, and they want the crayon and they haven't learned self-control yet. Every kid is going to have an issue with hearing the word no. But that's where your parents come in and say that that's not acceptable behaviour. There is a huge difference between a child being a brat and calling them an oppressor. I think we should leave kids alone to be kids. If they are doing something wrong, then correct their behaviour, but don't make everything bigger and more grown up than it needs to be. Because once we get them involved in grown up things, Where do we draw the line? If we are going to bring children into adult things, then they should be allowed to make the same decisions as adults. Let their voices be heard too. But we are not going to do that because children should be allowed to be children. And just because they're doing something wrong, we don't have to make everything bigger than it is. My final opinion on the saying is that men should learn to respect women, but that women should also learn to respect men. Oh, and by the way, I have been asking for the longest time at the end of my videos for you to send in your art or any pictures that you want me to show at the end of my videos. Here is one that was sent to me. If you want to send it in, then I will show it before the outro. If you're still here, you're handsome and you're beautiful and you, well, I'm speechless. I'll let you know next time I see you. Over to the pets. Hello all, this is Sylvie. If you liked what you saw, then subscribe for more.
Hey everyone, my name's Bonjo. If you enjoyed yourself, then give it a thumbs up and share it with all your friends.
Hi everybody, I'm Jack, and if you had fun, then comment down below and let my mum know. What do you enjoy doing besides YouTube?